in saying that, they embrace the month in terms of getting active, the ibadats on point, and doing everything you need to do to complete your month without swaying too far away from what you do in your normal day-to-day lives. And this is quite interesting to see how the generations approach it, and how things have changed over time, but still getting the best outcome in terms of religiously, spiritually, and physically as a human being. So it's going to be interesting. But to chat to us a bit more about this, we're joined by Nizaam Williams on the line. Assalamu alaikum, Nizam, and thanks for joining me on Salam Media this afternoon.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for having me.
It's only a pleasure, Nizam. How's the month of Ramadan treating you this far?
It is going good, alhamdulillah, very blessed. Can already feel some of the benefits, of the Ramadan spiritually.
Well, I mean, that's exactly why we have you on the show, to give us some guidance and give the listeners and the viewers guidance as well on how to be feeling those benefits of the month of Ramadan spiritually and physically. Nizam, just for those who tuned in late and are not aware of who you are and what you do, could you give them a brief intro as to what exactly you do?
Oh, I'm sorry. The line is a bit slow, but it's fine. So yeah, I'm a personal trainer and sports conditioner, and I'm based in Athlone, Belgravia, in Cape Town. And we basically at Metamorphosize focus on general fitness. People who want to lose weight or gain weight even or muscle. And then also we specialize in training athletes and soccer teams, focusing on improving in this sport as well.
And is I'm just looking at that. I mean, there's been a rise in Muslim athletes per se in the professional sphere and professional spaces, and that's why I thought this topic was so important for us to speak about, not just for the general public, but also for the professional athletes that are tuned in. Nizam, looking at the month of Ramadan, what are some of the approaches that you took for your athletes and also for just the general ordinary person trying to maintain a good, healthy lifestyle, so that they can maintain what they have already and also not substitute the spiritual requirements of the month of Ramadan in order to um, keep the physical side intact? How have you managed to balance that to some of your clients?
So with that, obviously, it's important to have balance with regards to your exercise schedule and with your spending more time with your family, being a month of Ramadan, and spiritually also. So it's important to have that balance, and balancing it out can be tricky sometimes. And most people enjoy the training before iftar, um, and some people enjoy after iftar. So there's different options really that you can choose from. It all depends on your choice of what suits you best.
And I mean, looking at that, what suits you best? Many people would obviously now sway towards that. But let's look at a professional athlete that's training about 2 sessions a day, for example, a gym session in the morning, a field session in the afternoon, and the amount of calories that they're burning are quite high. So you would want to take that. These players don't get depleted throughout the day and maintain what they have. Otherwise, everything will just have a negative spiral effect on their performance as a whole and on their physical well-being. How do
Exactly.
you
So looking at
counter
it,
this?
yeah, exactly. With a professional athlete, they obviously need to keep fit, and they need to make sure that they provide themselves with the proper nutrition to do the exercises during the day and to keep fit. So nutrition would be the first thing to talk about. Obviously, for suhoor in the morning, they would need to eat sufficient nutrition to supply them with that energy. So, so things like low GI carbohydrates that can release slowly through your body, and it can guide you. long-lasting energy throughout the day. So stuff like oats, whole wheat breads or whole wheat foods. Um, you also can use bananas, really good slow release carbohydrates. So yeah, and then so that's for the morning. And then usually an athlete would do more of a light session in the morning, depending on what time the session is. Usually it's around 8 or 9. So in most cases it would be a jog or a light physical session, and then obviously they would need to fast throughout the day, and then break their fast, and then the heavier session could then be done after breaking their fast.
And I mean, with saying that, for the normal, say for the normal average general public out there, um, we find that a lot of people's fitness these days have become better, and people are starting to take better care of themselves, to the point now where, let's say 10 years back, not as many people would be training in Ramadan and keeping fit in Ramadan. But now we're seeing a bit of an increase in that. So the same model that you'd apply for a professional athlete, do you think we could give that to the general person in the public?
It could be, you could use it as a general person. Obviously, the nutrition part plays, it's important for everyone to have those low GI foods that can last you the energy throughout the day. Obviously, they don't have to train in the morning, although there is, like you said, an increase of a lot of people, I think just in general, getting closer towards fitness. Um, so you do get a range of people doing different things. It's really each to their own as to there's many ways that work. But I would say the best way, the best method is to train just before iftar time, because after you train, your body obviously goes into a state of hunger, and it needs to replenish all of those muscles that you've torn and damaged. So if you train before iftar time, when the time comes for iftar, you can replenish those foods immediately. Whereas in the difference of training in the morning, you can train, but then afterwards your body's still going into a hunger state, where it eats with muscle, and you know. So the ideal time would be just before iftar.
Well, we've touched on nutrition, we've touched on the best time to train. We're going to take a quick ad break. When we do come back, we're going to be chatting a bit more to Nizaam Williams, who's going to give us a breakdown on how we can stay healthy and fit in the month of Ramadan. Stay tuned, don't turn that dial. We'll be back shortly.
Do you want to make a real impact this Ramadan? Donate your zakah to Ashraful Aid. Your zakah can help feed an orphan, support a widow, build a home for a refugee family, sponsor a HIF student, and much more. With Ashraful Aid, you can make a real difference. Visit our website at www.ashrafulaid.org to make a donation. Make your Ramadan meaningful with Ashraful Aid.
Freedom Stationery supply Marlin and Marlin Kids pens to me and my school friends. They supply just about everything we need to help us get a better education, from books to files to rulers. In fact, any any accessory we need. Freedom Stationery. Education for the nation. What does accessory mean?
The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was asked, which charity is best? He replied, a drink of water.
Africa.
Every day, 2 billion people wake up and have no access to water and sanitation. Sponsor a water well for 14,800
Are
rand.
you
A
sure you
borehole
don't
in Afghanistan,
have a yes
49,500 rand. A borehole in
So how long
Africa,
are you going to take
55,000 rand with Africa Muslims Agency. Give water as a means of
You
Sadaqah
can only
Jariyah
have
today.
this.
Forward AMA on 011 834 8685 or donate online. Africa Muslims Agency, commemorating 35 years of empowering, educating, inspiring.
This Ramadan, spread the love with Sunshine D margarine, the perfect addition to your seri table. for spreading, baking, and cooking. Sunshine D is rich in essential vitamin A, E, and D, and is the tastiest way to get their day or night started. Sunshine D tastes nice, no lies.
At Sentio, our Invest for Good philosophy is based on a genuine desire to use our investment skills for the benefit of broader society by investing responsibly, giving charitably, and developing talent that will transform the investment industry. Visit www.sentio-capital.com for more information about our Sharia investment products and start saving with us today. Sentio Capital. Invest for good. Sentio Capital Management is an authorized financial services provider.
These days, I'm more health conscious than ever. So tonight it's stir fry for dinner, cooked in healthy Helios pure sunflower cooking oil. Helios is pure sunflower goodness, packed with omega-6. That's good for your heart and is approved as part of the Heart and Stroke Foundation eating plan. Dinner's ready! Helios, pure sunflower cooking oil. A healthy family is a happy one.
Salam Media, your spiritual companion this.
Welcome back to Salam Media. It is now 19 minutes past 12 on the dot. And joining me in conversation this morning, or this afternoon, I beg your pardon, is Nizaam Williams, personal trainer and sports conditioner, giving us a bit of a background on how we can stay fit and nutritious through the month of Ramadan. Before the ad break, he did touch on a bit of nutrition and what are the best times to train in the month of Ramadan. But right now, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty and a bit of the meat of the conversation, because we know now what to fuel ourselves with. We know when's the best time to train. Now we need to find out what type of exercises are some of the best exercises during the month of Ramadan without being too strenuous on your body and obviously depleting yourself, like many would call it these days. Welcome back, Nizaam. It's such a pleasure having you on the show, sharing your knowledge and insight, giving myself and the listeners such a broader understanding of the world of fitness and nutrition.
Once again, shukran for having me. This is an exciting topic, and yeah, we can talk about it all day.
Well, we have a bit shorter than all day, but I'm sure we can keep going at it. Nizaam, obviously told us the stuff that we should eat to be nutritious in the month of Ramadan. You told us what time is best to train. But now looking at this, the types of training. Many people would say that a steady state cardio, low intensity would be good to do. Many people would suggest other things like a bit of mobility work, stretching, things like that. But from the health professional himself, Nizaam, what type of exercises would you be advising to your clients throughout the month of Ramadan?
Okay, so if it's a really broad subject, so I'm just going to break it up into different sections. If you're talking about some, like a general person that wants to go for, the goal is to lose weight. I think a great way to train would be maybe an hour session. It would still be fine depending on the person's fitness. But if it's someone that has been training before Ramadan already, 1 hour will still be fine. It can also be reduced to 45 minutes, if need be. But ideally, a mixture of steady state cardio, something very basic like going for a walk, or if you're going to the gym, something on the treadmill or on the spin bike at a moderate pace. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being very hard, you would want to be on like a 5, which is very moderate. So you could do, if you're doing 40 minutes, 20 minutes steady state cardio, and then I would suggest also half of the session strength exercises as well. You can keep your repetitions to like 12 to 15 repetitions. Try not to choose too heavy weight, just keep it moderate, like I said, 5 out of 10. That's for someone that wants to lose weight. You obviously get those guys that stress about Ramadan when it comes to muscle building. But actually you don't have to stress that much, because you won't necessarily have to lose too much muscle during the month of Ramadan. I would suggest keeping your intensity low. You can still lift the weight, your normal bench press, squat, all the big muscle groups
Mm.
you can target, but you need to make sure that straight after you eat, you're replenishing those muscles with either protein shake or whatever, or something that can repair the body right away.
Mm. And that's obviously why you did advise on training just before iftar time in the evening.
Exactly. The with those guys, especially the people that wants to pick up muscle, training in the morning is fine. You'll have the energy, but the important part about that is the repair. There's a 30-minute period after training with weights, especially that your body needs to be replenished so that you can repair those muscles really quickly. Because after training, 30 minutes protein synthesis is where you need to feed the muscles where it's most hungry. So yeah, that's why that is my opinion.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And from a professional athlete perspective, you know that training they they don't really have full control over the times
Yeah.
of training. Let's say team
Mm.
sessions and things like that because of the environment that they're in. Um, how do you go about that? Would you just
Okay.
go
Okay.
about it as normal?
Okay. So I mostly work with combat sports athletes. So Muay Thai, MMA, kickboxing, boxing, and that's really an intense sport. We also work with footballers and rugby players. So everything, all of the sports will be kind of different, but your base would be, if I must use a combat sports, for example, in the morning, a 5 kilometer jog won't really be that tough on the athlete. I mean, if it is someone that has been training before Ramadan, and they are generally fitter than the general public. Um, a 5 kilometer light run won't be too draining for them in the morning straight after they break their fast. Not after they break the fast, before they start their
Before
fast.
they start, yeah.
Um, so yeah, that would
Mhm.
be something um, for them. Whether it be a slow pace, um, as long as it's a light intensity, and then obviously after they break their fast, um, I have I have athletes that train straight after they break their fast, so not have a big meal and samosas and whatever it may be that you break your fast with. They try and break their fast with banana and dates are really good. And obviously hydration is very important. And
Yeah.
train straight after that. So you don't want to eat too much to break your fast. The more important part is eating after you train.
Mm. So that makes sense. So you eat after you train. Okay, I think I'm grasping it. I'm grasping it. I will obviously go out there and go try exactly what you told me, and I will be giving you feedback. And let's hope that some of the listeners and viewers at home can give us some feedback as well. We do have Nizam on the line for the next 4 minutes, so make sure that you give us a call and you engage with us over social media if there's any questions that you possibly have. Nizam, just going back to you as a fitness trainer. How long have you been around in the industry, and what are some of the trends that you've obviously picked up with Ramadan, and what are some of the lessons that you've learned? Because obviously you've had now a whole lot of time to go through a lot of trial and error. And what are some of the learning lessons that you've picked up over this time period that you've been in the fitness fraternity?
Yeah. So I've been in the fitness industry for 14 years. Um, and some of the most important things that I picked up is, obviously some things that I've discussed now, using very important, starting your fast with the right foods. If you're having low GI foods, it's going to last you throughout your fast, even during training. And after training, I think trying to hydrate yourself as much as possible really helps with, especially if you're training during Ramadan. Um, Gas drinks and juices, they have their place, but you obviously need to treat your body like it needs to be hydrated all the time, and that's not gonna really benefit you if you're having the gastrics and stuff. So that's one thing nutrition-wise that I've learned, eating oats and hydrating myself. And then the other thing is, you can still train during Ramadan. There's a lot of people that feel that, oh no, I'm gonna be very thirsty or very hungry while I'm training. But honestly, once you start training and you just get warmed up and you in the zone, kind of, you forget that you're fasting and that you haven't eaten all day. Um, and you feel better about yourself. You actually have a better fasting day, in my honest opinion.
No, it makes complete sense, and I'm looking forward to obviously trying out all these tips that you've now given me, and I will be making sure that I do give you your feedback um, in the week to come, and let's see how this goes. But Nizam, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Really, really appreciate you taking out the time of your day to chat to us a bit more about how we can take better care of our bodies and how we can stay revitalized and energized during this month of Ramadan. Shukran so much for your time this afternoon. I look forward to doing this chat with you real soon.
Shukran to you. Thank you for having me, and enjoy the rest of Ramadan. And I hope the listeners can take the advice and, maybe just keep the sessions light during Ramadan, but not lose all of the hard work.
Only a pleasure, and we look forward to chatting to you real soon a bit more about that. But before we do let you go, I'm sure so many people are intrigued about this topic. Um, how can they get hold of you, and where can they inquire a bit more about your business in case they do, or not in case, I mean, they will want to get in contact with you after these tips and advice that you've given us?
Okay. You can find the Metamorphosized Personal Training on Instagram. It is a bit of a long name. It's Metamorphosized with a Z. Metamorphosized PT on Instagram. We are also on Facebook. And then they can also contact me anytime if they have any questions regarding the topic. It's 074 672 9111.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you've got it. All the information that you need in order to chat to Nizam a bit more about how to maintain and stay healthy during the month of Ramadan. Nizam, shukran so much, and I look forward to chatting to you real soon again and touching base on how everybody's progress has been going throughout the month of Ramadan.
Afwan, shukran to you. Walaikum
Afwan,
salam.
that was Nizaam Williams, personal trainer and sports conditioner, giving us a bit of advice on how we can get through the month of Ramadan and staying fit and healthy throughout this month. It's interesting to hear the changes and the topics that come up. Also, the changes in society as well. If you want to bring that up, just how people have become so much more health conscious, and um, it's something that you look at a couple of years ago that wasn't done, but it's amazing. I think it's amazing to see that everybody's taking better care of their bodies and their mindset, and obviously wellness going forward. So much so that, does it make people sharper? Does it allow you to get better in your ibadah at night when you need to go for tarawih, or let's say you want to wake up for tahajjud? Does it make your recovery after tarawih a lot better? You don't wake up with sore muscles, aching body pains, and things like that the next day. So these are all interesting topics of conversation that come up, where things are not just fitness based, but it's actually lifestyle and how to live a better lifestyle to get a better outcome in everything else that you're doing. But well, that's it from us for this week. Next week we're going to be chatting more things sport and also a lot more um, on the health and fitness side, and also profiling some of the Muslim athletes and people in the sporting fraternity, and getting to hear their stories on how they've approached the month of Ramadan and the changes they've seen in the spaces and the industry over the years. But for now, from myself, Dhakir Daud, and the team at Salam Media, we're gonna we're gonna be saying Assalamu alaikum. Until next week, we'll be chatting to you once again.